To differentiate this, find the derivative of y with respect to x. So y will take its partner, change in y, is equals to tan x plus change in x, close bracket. We have to isolate change in y, and we take this y to the other side, which is tan plus change in x minus y. What is our y? Our y is this one, the initial function, which is tan x. So we replace this y with tan x. So what we have is change in y is equals to tan x plus change in x minus tan x. Now we need to expand this one using tan addition identity. So let's assume, let's recall. We have tan a plus b, means we have is equals to tan a plus tan b over 1 minus tan a tan b. So from here, tan x plus change in x, our a is equals to x and our b is equals to change in x. So replace them with this identity. So that means change in y is equals to tan x plus tan change in x over 1 minus tan x tan change in x minus tan x. So we can put 1 over this under this one. It doesn't change the value. So tan x over 1 is still, it does not change the value, it's still tan x. So we find the LCM, we have change in y is equals to, same is 1 minus tan x tan change in x. So times 1, which is the LCM. This one here, 1 times this, we have tan x plus tan change in x minus 1 here, this, so tan x into 1 minus tan x tan change in x. So the next thing is that we open the bracket. So change in y is equals to tan x plus tan change in x minus tan x plus tan square x tan change in x, everything over 1 minus tan x tan change in x. We can see that we have tan x, so this one cancel out. Therefore, we are left with tan change in x plus tan square x tan change in x over 1 minus tan x tan change in x. If that is the case, then we can see that this tan x, tan change in x, and this one, we can factor tan change in x out, which will give us tan change in x into 1 plus tan square x, everything over 1 minus tan x tan change in x. This is still our change in y. So our change in y is equals to this. That means we need to introduce our, we divide both sides by change in x. So that means this one divided by change in x, that is equals to, whatever we do in the left hand side, we must do it in the right hand side. So we're going to have tan change in x. So we are going to introduce our change. So we are going to introduce our change in x. That is, we divide both sides by change in x. So tan change in x into 1 minus 1 plus tan square x divided by 1 minus star x star change in x, all divided by change in x, divided by change in x. If we have that, that means we are going to have change in y over change in x is equals to tan change in x into 1 plus tan square x over 1 minus tan x tan change in x. This one we can say it is divided by 1. That is our the one we divide both sides by x, can say also divide. It doesn't change its value, just like we still put change in x there. So if that is the case, we can change this one to times, and 1 will come up, change in x will come down. So that means our change in y over change in x is equal to tan change in x into 1 plus tan square x over 1 minus tan x tan change in x times this one. So can have it change in x. So let's rearrange. You can have this one change in y over change in x is equal to tan change in x into 1 plus tan square x over change in x. That is, we move this one, that change in x we move, we will rearrange this one into 1 minus tan x tan change in x. Using our limits, can say change, we can say change in the y dx is equal to limit of change in y over change in x as change in x approaches 0, which means that limit of tan change in x into 1 plus tan square x over change in x into 1 minus tan x tan change in x, close bracket, as change in x tends to 0. So if that is the case, by no limit, tan change in x over change in x is equal to 1 minus tan x tan change in x is also equals to 1. So that means the y dx is equal to limit of change in y over change in x at approaching 0 is equals to 1 times square x. That means the y dx is equal to sec square x. That is the answer. If you find this video useful, please click the subscribe button, like, follow, comment where possible, so that anytime I upload another video, you'll be the first to get notified. Thank you.